I, Dr. Kavita Singh, Associate Professor of Law in WBNUJS Kolkata, is in the teaching profession for last 15 years. I am the coordinator of the socio-economic offences paper under the subject criminology in the e-Pathshala. Presently, I am going to present before you the module trafficking in arms. Illicit trading or trafficking, as it is more commonly, is mainly in small arms and light weapons. The concentration of such activity is in area affected by armed conflict, violent acts of insurgency and organized crimes, whereby demand for illegal arms is high. Such trafficking aids civil war and regional conflicts, contributing to violence and violation of laws as well as peace and tranquility. Illicit trade of arms and light weapons terrorize all communities. They are used in riots and disturb the equilibrium of the society. The trade is unregulated and thus gives uncontrolled access to firearms to all kinds of individuals. When traded illegally, it reaches the hands of various segments of humankind and becomes the primary source of conflict in violation of the international and humanitarian law. The violence caused is prolonged and loss of human life is immeasurable. Innocent population of women and children are worst affected. The case of travel and transportation is a bane in such matter, and proliferation of arms has increased with lax borders and loose securities measures despite the increasing effect of globalization. Now we come to learning objectives. The learning objectives of this module are to understand arms trading levels of arms trading and what factors lead to illegality of the trade. Secondly, to conceptualize the menace created by illegal arms trade in India and in international perspective. Thirdly, to point out grey areas to understand the modus operandi of the illegal trade impact of the same and the actors involved. Now we come to the learning outcomes. To understand the extent of illegal arms trading and the factors behind this offense. To conceptualize the menace created by illegal arms trade in India and in international perspective. To point out grey areas to understand the modus operandi of the illegal trade. Three consequences, however, are the most noted ones. Firstly, it worsens the civil wars of regional conflicts. Secondly, illegal arms trading organizations, drugs cartels and other armed groups. Lastly, they contribute to the violent crime and the spreading of value technology to the wrong hands. Arms trading takes place through either the black market or the grey market. The black market and the grey markets cannot be ignored for their acknowledged and great importance in the covert arms transfer. These markets deal with the transfer and leads to the uncontrolled transfer and violation of the rules for the transfer specified by the statute. The transactions are obviously without the consent or within the control of the government individuals. Corruption is one of the evils which substantially contributes to the transfer and the frequency of such transfers. There are loopholes in the administration which is taken advantage of by the people involved in such proliferation. The nexus of the international and domestic politics gives rise to the phenomenon of arms trade. When countries of the world became saturated with arms, it became difficult to understand whether the arms were being used for military purposes or for criminal purposes. Illegal arms are initially prepared by legally, but the brokers, sales, theft, corruption involve the non-actors for political and economic reasons. Gives rise to the entire process. Another dimension, in poor countries, the trend increased with drugs, cartels and money laundering, providing the monetary backup for production of the arms and its subsequent interstate or intrastate transfers. When combating arms trafficking, countries must focus their efforts on three levels: the national level, the regional level and the international level. It is necessary to tackle all of these because the illegal arms trade is a global problem and not localized one area. The role of illegal arms trading in transnational crimes, the illicit trade in small arms and light weapons, crude weapons and explosives, and military grade arms ammunition plays a twofold role in the context of transnational crimes. Firstly, they promote the activity of terrorist and insurgent organization, which include but are not limited to the intimidation of civilians, attack on the government institutions and the promotions of radical ideology. The government does not provide gun licenses for the purpose of any of the activities for which they are utilized by such groups. As a result, any use of weapons by the terrorists and the insurgents is unauthorized. Even for those having a valid gun license, the rights arising from the same cannot be used to detriment of another without reasonable cause. This essentially means that the licensed gun used to injure or kill someone except in exercise of the right to private defense. Thus, if the gun procured under a valid license is used for terrorist activities, its use will be considered to be unauthorized. In many cases, the arms in the hands of many terrorists may have entered the country illegally through shipments meant for military. These arms may have subsequently been stolen after interception during transit or through agents who manage to infiltrate army campuses. In such cases, the transfer of arms that takes place is unauthorized and causes considerable loss to the military resources. Alternatively, the weapons may be illegal from conception, having been used by unlicensed manufacturer Using locally sourced materials, such weapons are then smuggled across state and national borders in order to cater to the demands of insurgents across the nation. Secondly, the illegal arms corridor helps in the committing of various other offences on the daily basis. The funds from the sale of illegal arms can be used to finance activities of the nature of human trafficking, drug trafficking and counterfeiting of currencies. The illegally procured arms can also be used for the theft of cultural objects, art, timber and minerals. The illegal arms trade that takes place across border help in the flourishing of the international mafia, providing them with the means to conduct their business. Again, the threat of brute force. Unsurprisingly, armed conflicts can be used to carry out illegal oil and mining expeditions also. Armed traffickers are usually involved in multiple illegal networks and acts as intermediaries between the arms mafia and the insurgents. The identity of the traffickers varies, with some belonging to the rich, developed countries boasting huge stockpiles of weapons, while others hail from the conflict-prone regions with unstable regimes. Once a reliable network is established between the suppliers and insurgents, arms traffickers may provide additional information about their connections in other types of illicit transactions. This creates a widening circle of criminal activities where profit distribution leads to the continuation of crimes at an international level. The presence of corrupt officials at various levels of governance who overlook procedural discrepancy in lieu of monetary benefits provide further support to these illegal activities. Now, illegal online trade in arms. Due to emergence of technological developments, not only have the types of firearms increased manifold, but the method of procurement has also evolved in an unprecedented manner. As online shopping becomes the preferred choice for several persons looking for arms, authorities have become more vigilant over searches made on the online platform. Links leading to websites which illegally sell banned or restricted items of the nature of drugs, exotic animal products and firearms are promptly removed from search engines or blocked by the governments. On the face of it, it might appear to have reduced the amount of firearms being illegally procured and distributed in India. However, it has instead led people to use alternate tactics to continue online transaction of arms. While the government continues to monitor and censor content found on the surface web, thousands of websites continue to facilitate illegal trade in what has come to be known as dark web. Surface web surprises of the content that can be accessed by means of a conventional search engine like Google. On the other hand, the dark web is composed of content hosted on special closed networks which can be accessed using specialized browsers like Tor and Grams. The dark web provides ample anonymity to users, which makes it difficult for authorities to trace and prevent transactions that they enter into. The vendor who provide illegal goods in the marketplaces like Alphabay and Walla that exist within the dark web usually insist that purchasers make payments through bitcoins. Bitcoins are a form of currently unregulated electronic currency which adds another layer of anonymity to transaction. The general banking details that are otherwise required for fulfillment of online payments are bypassed through the use of bitcoins. Guns and other forms of arms which are ordered through website within the dark web are then disassembled and transported separately to reduce chances of suspicion and interception. Disarmament and arms control in the international arena. There is a ban on biological and chemical warfare. While the Geneva Protocol played a major role in banning the use of biological weapons, it remained silent about the possession of such weapons. The Biological Weapons Convention of 1972 filled this void by prohibiting the development. Test ban and environmental concern. The Comprehensive Test Ban Treaty proposing a complete ban on nuclear explosion for both civil and military power was adopted by the UN General Assembly in 1996, but is yet affected pending ratification by 8 states including India. Arms Trade Treaties and India's opposition. The Arms Trade Treaty is a multilateral treaty which aims to control the international trade of conventional weapons. The primary objective of the Arms Trade Treaty are to promote peace in the international community, contribute towards cooperation, transparency and responsible action of nations involved in arms trade so as to facilitate the reduction in human sufferings. Arms Trade Treaty can be traced back to the efforts meant to increase human security and regulate trade of arms, which added up to billions of dollars being circulated in the international arms market. It was adopted in 2013 by the UN General Assembly despite the abstinence in refusal for several nations to vote on the resolution concerning the Arms Trade Treaty. India was among the nations which refused to vote and has continued to maintain a stance against the Arms Trade Treaty. India has justified its refusal to be party to Arms Trade Treaty in its present form based on non-adherence of treaty to the nation's policies on defense, security and external affairs. India was an active participant in the negotiation of the Arms Trade Treaty on the belief that the resulting treaty would be balanced, strong and effective. There was an underlying hope regarding the non-interference of the treaty in matters of national security and upholding of the rights of nation to self-defense against aggressor through the treaty. The focus of India's stance on the Arms Trade Treaty was to create a treaty that would address illegal trafficking of arms and their illicit use by terrorists and other unauthorized non-state actors. However, India believes that these concerns have not been adequately addressed with the Arms Trade Treaty. Furthermore, India is against the use of the Arms Trade Treaty by the exporting nations to impose force majeure clause against importing nations without any consequences. Since the Arms Trade Treaty does not meet India's requirement, in its current state, India has chosen to refrain from being a party to it. Impact of illegal arms trade on civilians. Leading to civil tensions and poverty, civil possession of military grade weapons in conflict prone areas act as an impediment against government's efforts to restructure and promote economic institutions. This leads to further propagation of poverty, preventing the people from returning back from the excesses of violent conflict inflicted upon them. Issues of abuse of women, sexual, physical and domestic violence against women and girls is a common element in most domestic and international conflict which occurs between government agencies and anti-government forces or conflict groups. The addition of a free flow of illegal procured arms only increases the problem. children and illegal arms trading. The children who find themselves in the middle of violent uprising or resistance movements are often forced to take up arms against their will. Despite India's signing and consequent ratification of the optional protocol on the involvement of children in armed conflict, child soldier continue to be the part of various armed conflicts. In India, now we come to international perspective on arms trafficking. The United Nations Office of Disarmament Affairs defined illegal arms trade, also known as arms trafficking, as smuggling of contraband weapons or ammunitions. These contraband weapons were categorized into three types: small arms, light weapons and ammunitions. As defined in the panel report prepared by the governmental experts in the year 1997, as initiated by the General Assembly of the United Nations, on the international frontage there have been various attempts to curb the illicit or illegal trade of arms through treaties and conventions. The well-known arms trade treaty was formulated to regulate the production and transfer of small arms, but the progress is slow paced because production of arms as legal commodities by itself cannot be curbed. The conference held by the United Nations in the year 2001 was a landmark attempt. The program of action to prevent, combat and eradicate illicit trade in small arms and light weapons in all its aspects was initiated. A voluntary set of recommendations and guidelines for the member states presented the practical concerns of the countries in continuing with the needs of disarmament and steps required to curb the illicit trading. In another effort, the United Nations, through the publication of the Program of Action (POA) to prevent, combat and eradicate the illicit trade in small arms and light weapons in all its aspects, recognized the importance of issue of illegal arms trading and described the national efforts of member states, including but not limited to enacting adequate laws, establishing national agencies, marking, appropriate licensing and tracing measures for weapons, and finally destroying surplus arms. Now we come to scenario in India, menaces and measures. India shares border, being a land country from three sides. All the neighbors countries are friendly but defines not allies. Therefore, instances of such illegal trade increases, leading to easy exchange of hands. Laxity of borders and lack of regulation has seen and heard of many unreported cases of smugglings of arms across the borders of Bangladesh, Pakistan, through Bengal, Bihar and Rajasthan. Some of the states like Bihar and Uttar Pradesh are well known, infamous for production of the excel in manufacturing arms, firearms in form of gun making and crude bombs. Firearms are recklessly produced as per demand and are traded across the nation. These arms are also traded to the terrorists and Maoists in the neighboring countries of Nepal and Bangladesh. The state of Jharkhand, West Bengal provide for safe transit of consignments and the trade continues to flourish uninterrupted. Political agitations in any part of the country increases the demand of arms and the trade directly. The top three states in the terms of seized illegal weapons are Uttar Pradesh, Bihar and West Bengal. But the organized structure of the entire process requires detailed intervention of state innovative measures to unearth the unlicensed illegal arms, checking the movement of the consignments through international borders, and altogether a move developed and organized surveillance. The government also initiated the formation of a national database on arms license. in which arms, if not registered, would be treated as illegal and thus prone to illegal action. Availability of illegal arms, one of the major cause of increasing homicides in the various developed countries, and so is armed violence of any kind. Armed violence affects communities and societies, killing hundreds of innocent human beings and violating major human rights. The Arms Act was drafted and practiced in the country since the year 1959, but keeping in mind the development and the requirement of the changing world, the Ministry of Home Affairs in the year 2015 drafted arms rules. These rules provides detailed definition about the authorities who can issue license, person who could trade with arms and appointed by the authorities, and also discusses the features of license for arms other than firearms and others. To elaborate upon few of these rules, in Rule 4, the provision states that unless notified by the government, license for manufacturing, sale and possession of arms is required for limited purpose and in certain specified areas. And furthermore, as per Rule 9, the central government may impose restrictions by general or special order on any kind having effect outside the state in which it was granted. The rules comprehensively provide for streamlining of the provisions of the Arms Act 1959 relating to license and authority, the registration and renewal process, and incorporating details of the national database of arms. Legal control of illegal arms trade. The matter of illegal arms trade in India is regulated by means of provisions found under the Arms Act of 1959. Arms Rules of 2016, Explosive Substances Act 1908, Explosive Act 1884, Explosive Rules and new set of rules notified in the Gazette in 2016 supersede the Arms Rules of 1962, which occurs after the suppression. The Arms Act lays down the provision regarding the fulfillment of the requirement of illicit licensing of the parts of those who engage in use, possession or any form of transaction of the nature of transfer, sale, import or export of arms. It provides information about the process involved in the granting of license. The Arms Rules 2016 plays a supplementary role to the Arms Act of 1959. It provides details about the processes and restrictions mentioned in the provision of the Arms Act. The rules regarding the obtaining, renewal and maintenance of an arm license are sketched out in detail within the arms rules. Information regarding the obtaining of arms license by foreigners is also to be found within the rules. The scope of permissible use of arms by sportsperson, pursuing shooter as a sporting activity, utilization of entertainment of nature of theatrical performance, films or television programming, and the display of arms in museum is specified. Description about the procedure involved in the deposit of notified arms to designated public authorities is also provided in the rules. The rules further contain specifications that manufacturers of arms, original or replica, as the case may be, have to adhere to the order to retain their licenses. The issuance of license to accredited gunsmiths, arms and ammunition dealers and transporters of arms is also discussed. Instructions about the destruction and disposal of firearms are further mentioned. Appeals under the Arms Act are also dealt within the arms rules. The Explosive Act of 1884 aims at the regulating the use, manufacture, possession, transport, import, export and sales of explosives as defined under it. It confers power on specific authorities to take action against the manufacturer, use, sale or possession explosive which have been declared to be prohibited by the central government. It mandates that designated persons must be informed by the concerned parties in the event of any accidents involving explosive substances. It also enlists the procedural aspect of inquiry of such accidents. A separate section provides details regarding inquiries to be conducted into the more serious incidents. The Act lays down the punishment for the violation of various provisions, including fine, imprisonment and forfeiture of explosives. An appraisal of the existing legislation on illegal arms trade. Specific legislations exist at the national and the state level to prosecute those involved in terrorist activities and forms of illegal trafficking such as those involving wildlife, drugs or human. However, the continuous to be acute lack of acknowledgement on the part of the state regarding the nexus between the illegal arms trafficking and the flourishing of antisocial activities. The impact that the illegal arms trade has on innocent bystanders, particularly those belonging to vulnerable groups such as women and children in conflict-ridden areas, is also ignored by the current legislation. This oversight towards the illegal arms corridor trends to serve the passive enabling of insurgency, which gradually adds to the risk that citizens are put under. The quantum of punishment awarded under the Arms Act on average ranges between 3 to 7 years. Following the striking down of the provision for death penalty under the Arms Act by the Supreme Court, the hands of the authorities have become further tight. So, also the quantum of fine that is imposed on the offenders for violating various legislative provisions regarding arms and explosive is minuscule when compared to the gravity of the offences and the risk that they pose to the society as a whole. Even the idea of doubling the penalty for the subsequent offence as found under the Arms Act does not constitute a strong enough deterrent owing to the relatively short length of the initial punishment itself. Therefore, there is a serious need to update the provisions regarding punishments in all the concerned legislations to ensure that the serious message is sent out to the persons who partake in illegal transactions involving arms, ammunitions and explosives. Now we come to conclude, illegal arms trade is a menace and disturbs the domestic and international peace and equilibrium with the great momentum. The society is affected and so are the other units, but as a developing country with less resources and infrastructure to deal with the trafficking of arms, which is complex and a phenomenon motivated by the political activities and agendas as well in India, this continues to have its threatening effect. Crude arms and small weapons are prepared and mostly traded outside the country, used for conflicts in between states also. In India, the number of riots and the disturbance are fueled by the trading of illegal arms, either manufacturing illegally or traded illegally cannot be ignored. It is one of the most silent killers of humanity with negative impact on the economy as well as society. There is therefore an ardent need to regulate the arms production and sales to curb the trading and deal with ideals of United Nations, which has in the recent past made various attempts to prevent and curb the trade in between the countries. Thank you all for patiently listening me.